explicit violence in your writings?
It's what I do, is one answer. I write horror fiction. There is a kind of curiosity that we have as human beings about our life processes. One of our last life processes is death. It's a legitimate subject for curiosity. We shouldn't be ashamed that the macabre or the morbid exercises some fascination upon us. I tell it like it is. If it's there in my mind's eye, I put it on the page. And that seems to me to be a legitimate way to write.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Written and Read. That is the Horror Reader and Writers podcast. Yes, we are here, and we have an awesome episode coming up. An amazing guest, Elizabeth Bedlam. Many of you are probably familiar with her work. Hello, Old Friend, Puss and Lust. She's released quite a few audiobooks that she self-narrates, and we're going to talk about all that in her career and so much more, and answer questions from you guys as well. Let me just tell you, it's going to be an excellent episode. The interview is awesome. So, in case you guys aren't familiar, though, we're going to introduce ourselves, and then to give you guys a little update, we're going to do kind of a mid-year review of what we've done so far and what you might be able to expect from us in the second half of this year. So, my name is Aaron Beauregard. You may know me from such books as The Slob or Modern Hysteria. I also recently released Survivor's Guilt with Matt Shaw. And you can find all my stuff at AB, like my name, Aaron Beauregard, abhorror.com. I have signed copies, merchandise, there's clothing and apparel if you like the horrific designs in my books. Daniel J. Volpe.
I am the two-time Splatterpunk Award-nominated author of Talia and Left to You. My newest book, Visceral 2, is out now. That's a short story collection that was co-authored by Patrick C. Harrison III from Death's Head Press. We each contributed 4 hellacious, disgusting body horror stories to this collection. They are fucking gruesome and violent and just wholesome, you know. But if you guys, I know most of you are Splatterpunk fans, you'll want to check that out. You can buy signed copies of all my work at DanielJVolpeHorror.com. Again, you can get some merch there, some shirts, some cool stuff there, and all my books are there, signed, ready for your enjoyment. Roland Bursey Jr., the 8th. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, everybody. Roland Bursey Jr., author of a few stories. Pre-Thanksgiving Justice Order, Hit Back as a Witch, Abortion. You can find my stuff on Amazon. I have them on Facebook. I have a website, RolandBurseyJr.com, that I need to update a little bit. Yeah, that's me.
Yo, you're the illest Roland. And we also normally Carver Pike will be on the show, but he may have to be off a few episodes in the near future, just for family stuff he's got to do. Family first, guys, okay? But Carver Pike, you can find his work on Amazon. You could reach out to Carver directly on Facebook and whatnot if you want signed copies or anything of that nature. And his new book, Faces of Beth, with the introduction by Brian Keene, is available now, in paperback and in ebook. So definitely check that out. It's been getting some really good reviews. Some people have said they think it's the best book of the year.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out. It seems like it's checking all the boxes for people. So, and rightfully so, because Carver is definitely a talented author.
Yeah, absolutely. Too talented for this podcast, quite honestly.
Yeah, which is why he's abandoning us to go on his bull semen harvesting quests around the globe. I think he's in Argentina right now. The bulls are just spraying down there.
Bulls right now.
Yeah, they're just blasting them.
Yeah, we're glad to see that you came back from your pilgrimage as well.
I am. I lost all my hair making rugs for a carver.
Did you tell him this, Roland?
No, I didn't.
No, because you don't know what we said about you, right?
No, I have no idea. I can't wait.
You're like
I'm
a
so
fucking
excited.
savant, dude. Wow. No, we were just telling him about how you kind of had that mini breakdown, and you was crying, calling Roland
Mhm.
about how you missed your
Yeah.
hair, and you were out
Yeah.
looking for a rug, you looking for a toupee, um, and a merca too,
Oh,
because
Merkins, yeah,
the pubic gave out on you too, from what I understand. Is that accurate?
that's accurate. It looks like an egg. It's just ridiculous. It's so smooth.
Ooh, it's breakfast time.
That is.
The real question
Crack.
is, did you find what you were looking for? Did you find a suitable hairpiece?
You know I sent you pictures, motherfucker. Don't act like you don't have them things.
Yo, he's got a piece. All right,
Yeah.
but let's move on to
Let's be serious.
yeah, other things besides bull semen and fucking dumb hair. We have a mid-year review that we want to give. Do you want to kick it off, Dan, with the mid-year?
Yeah, sure. So 2022, we kind of just rolled right into it, and for me, it's been already a pretty good year. My first release of the year was Only Psychos, which is my latest solo release. It's a novella, a single story, isolation kind of thing. Lots of fun, lots of blood, lots of guts. After that, the four of us, we did Exits, which was published through Splatterpunk magazine with Jack Bantry at the helm of that. That had excellent reception. I think people that have read it really enjoyed it. We do have some copies left, so if you guys want any of those, get them quickly because there was only, I believe, 200 copies made. I had a story that I co-wrote with Dustin LaValle in the Evil Cookie anthology, The Accounting Bodies Like Sheep. That's out now. So that one actually has a new story from Edward Lee in it, which is, it's going to be amazing. Armand Rosamilla's in that. Christine Morgan, Stephen Kazanowski. So just a really great host of authors in there. And my newest book, like I said in the opening, Visceral 2, is out now from Death's Head Press. And if you guys haven't really read any of my short stories and want to get a little taste, then definitely check that book out. It's available now in ebook and paperback. And again, by the time this airs, I'll definitely have signed copies. So either reach out to me on social media, or you can just go right to my website, danieljvolpehorror.com, and everything will be right there for you. Aaron?
Awesome, yeah. So you had a nice, busy first half of the year. I feel like I did too. It's been a great year so far. Kind of coming out of the funk of the whole madness of the world has been great too. I feel like we're getting back to normal a little bit, and which is awesome. And we're getting to get out and do more things, which is fucking great. So I will say, like, All Smiles Until I Return came out like one of the last few days of December, I believe. So it's that book is almost associated with this year, but not. I feel like a lot of people read it this year, and that was a real fun book to release. Doing something a little bit different about the potentials of the afterlife and various renditions of what it might be. More philosophical probably than any other book I've ever done. So I was real proud of that one. And after that, in February, I released Nightmare Nirvana, which was a book that I've been working on for a few years. And that was the one that had 69 illustrations and the Zach Dunn cover art. And it was kind of like modern day urban legends almost. And the people who were able to get their hands on that really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, that book, you can't search it on Amazon. You have to go to my author page because there's some adult imagery in it, and it kind of got flagged for that. So honestly, like, the reception with signed paperbacks was great. The reception with it with cons was great, and people that were able to get their hands on it. But it's just been real hard for people to find, which is a bit of a tragedy, but I think it was I think it'll still be a great seller with signed paperbacks at the AV Horror Store and with conventions. And more than anything, it was a very personal piece, that one, kind of about my childhood in a lot of ways, and I'm just glad I was able to release it. And then after that, in April, I released Modern Hysteria, which just really blown away by the reception for that one. A lot of people think that that's my best work, It's very highly rated. I think it's right now at like 4.78 or something. It's nearly a perfect rating, and I just think writing that was super fun. And sort of exploring the social media lore and stuff like that behind some of these internet monsters, and how it intertwines with real life. So I'm extremely proud of that book. I think it's actually like some of my best work with character arcs, particularly. And it's not as extreme as a lot of my other work. When it gets nasty, it does get really nasty, but for the most part, I just think it's like good horror, And if I was to recommend anything, I'd say definitely check that out. And then lastly, we just had the release with Survivor's Guilt with Matt Shaw here in May, and that was really a fun book to write. And so far, the reception's been awesome. People have been really supportive of us. I think it was #1 in British fiction for a few days there. And a lot of people pre-ordered it. A lot of people continuing to read it. So it's been a wild year. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Daniel, we all did exits together. So it's been a fucking crazy year, but totally awesome. What about you, Roland?
Well, you guys are beasts. I can tell you that much. I don't even see how y'all find the time. And I want to be like you when I grow up.
Well, in fairness, though, you do work a full-time job that is very demanding, so,
Yeah, fuck that job.
Roland, stop fucking saying that. They're going to hear you.
For me, since the beginning of the year, so what I released with Candace Nola and you guys, and 12 other authors, or however many that is, minus us, was Homegrown Comeuppance. That's my story in the Baker's Dozen, which I actually had a lot of fun writing because it's a story about I guess a cryptid, and I always enjoy cryptids, so I had a lot of fun doing the research and coming up with my own little twist on it. Then we had exits, and that was a lot of fun too. I'm actually out of my copies of exits, Daniel.
They're in the mail.
I know. So
I just got mine today, actually.
I probably got it. I'll go check it from the mailbox. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Come on.
So I had fun writing that one, and then the other thing that I did this year, of course, was the Scares That Care, which was my very first convention as a participating vendor, and it was a lot of fun. So that's what you got from me from this year.
All right, let's go in reverse order then. Why don't you tell us about what you got planned for the rest of this year? What can we expect in that second half?
So coming up, I'm working on 2 stories right now. I have a short story in a collection. I'm not going to say with who yet because I don't know if they released it. I don't think they did, though. So that's another fun one, and we're having a good time writing. So this one's, I can't say what it's about. And then I have a solo release that I plan on doing. It's probably going to be my longest book yet. I'm right at about 18,000 words, and I probably got another 10 to go before I finish it. So it's disgusting. The subject matter is disturbing, and if I can
Are you kidding for me?
I'm so shocked.
I'm shocked.
What'd you say?
I'm shocked.
What?
Are you kidding me? You write disgusting stuff?
No. So I plan on having that out hopefully by the summertime. What about you, Daniel?
I have one book that should be just about wrapped up soon called Plastic Monsters, which I've teased here and there. And by the time this comes out, the cover reveal should be revealed. That's going to be just around like 40K, ish. So that should be a good chunk, good size. I have my 3 chapbooks coming out from Dead Sky Inc., which is the imprint of Death's Head Press. I don't know if when this comes out, if the covers are going to be revealed yet, but the fucking covers are amazing. Luke Spooner did a really, really fantastic job capturing all the characters and stuff like that. Um, Aaron and I will be working on No Boundaries Book 2, which we already have that pretty much fleshed out. It's going to be fucking brutal. I think it's going to make So Sorry. It's gonna blow that away. I think it's going to be a perfect add-on to that series. And Black Hearts and Red Teeth is finished. That is the sequel to A Gift of Death. That'll be out in December from D&T Publishing. And for like appearances, I'm doing a Beers and Fears with, I think I'm going with Armand Rosamilia, J.C. Walsh, Frank Edler, and Timmy Meyer down in Spellbound Brewing down in New Jersey. So I'm gonna have more information on that. That's gonna be in October. And then Aaron and I, what's the one we're doing in Taunton, Mass?
Monster Expo, it's called.
Monster Expo in October. Aaron and I will be down there. We'll obviously post more about that as the time gets closer. And right now I'm working on a sequel to Talia, which is going very well. About 12K into that, so it should be a really good continuation. I hope everybody enjoys what I've done with her character. So, Aaron, what do you got coming up for us?
So, as same as Daniel, I have 3 chapbooks that are going to be coming out with Death's Head Press that I would believe you can expect sometime the second half of this year. I can't confirm it, but I'm pretty sure that's probably the case. And I have The Cuck, which is a really disturbing tale, and it's like a little bit different. I tend to do less supernatural stuff, and I think people are really going to appreciate this. It's a chilling fucking story. Like, it's creepy is the best way I can describe it. It is creepy. I'm trying to have it adapted into a short film with a gentleman I'm working with overseas in the UK. So we're sort of working on funding for that, and hopefully it'll go through. Movie stuff's really uncertain, but he seems really dedicated to doing it and excited about it. So it's really just a financial thing at this point. So that's why that one might not come out. That one's going to kind of be random, because if I can, I would like to sort of release it around the time that the film can be shown. I think that would make the most sense. But I'm very excited about that. Additionally, I have another story that is called The Rash, which I released the cover for on Facebook one day, which got a really good reaction. And that one is about a disease of vanity, essentially, and how will humanity deal with each other when it's not a deadly disease, but it is one that makes you look absolutely horrific. What will you do with these people? How will you treat them? So it's really a perspective piece on man and sort of how we look at each other, and depending on how you view society, you may think differently about this, but it's obviously a fictitious story. It's fiction, but I think hopefully we can reflect on it and see what things were wrong and what things were right. But it's a fucking gross one, I'll say that. It's like, you think about a rash, right? And anybody ever had a rash?
Yeah, like poison ivy.
What about one right now? but what about non-poison ivy? Like, what about just a body rash? Has it ever you ever have like an allergic reaction or something like that?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever really.
So part of the thing that got the idea for the story for me was, like, I had a bad allergic reaction to an antibiotic when I got my wisdom teeth out. I took the antibiotic, and I realized that I was allergic to this antibiotic that I hadn't had before. And so I broke out in a full body rash, like all red, and I just remember thinking about how that fucking humbles you real quick. When your skin isn't what it usually is. You know what I mean? And it's just a very humbling thing having a rash. And so, I don't know, it interested me, like, thinking back on that, and just like how you feel when your exterior that you present to people all the time is not what it normally is, So I think that one's going to be really cool. I'm excited to release that. And then I have another book that's going to come out, which I haven't released the cover for yet, but here it is, a written and read exclusive, Aaron Beauregard's Playground. And this book is gonna be insane. I don't even want to say too much about it right now and give stuff away, but it is gonna be insane. I've shown the guys the cover already, so they kind of know what the deal is. But I'm not gonna really go too much into it. But I can tell you, it'll be out this year, and it's gonna be insane. It's not gonna be for everyone. It's definitely not gonna be for everyone. And as far as I'm not sure if towards the very end of the year, me and Matt Shaw are going to release the first book in a 6-book series called U-Turns, which will be he and I each writing 3 stories to the halfway point, and then we each take over each other's 3 stories at the halfway point and take it into a fucking total U-turn. And if you've ever seen the movie like From Dusk Till Dawn, where in the beginning it's just like a fucking robbery, violence sort of thing going on, and then boom, they're in a bar full of like vampire strippers. It goes vampire out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, so the whole concept behind this series is that when the other guy takes it over, it goes a completely different direction than the reader's expecting. So there will be 6 novellas in this series, and that's the first season. There may be other seasons potentially. But yeah, the first book of that, you could pre-order it now on Amazon, and it will be out. It's called The Girl in the Cellar, the first one. And very much looking forward to that, because I enjoyed writing with Matt, and I pitched the concept for Survivor's Guilt, and he pitched me this concept, and it's flattering to get a pitch from Matt in general. So
Yeah.
as big of a piece of shit as you'll hear me talk about him later in the show, he's decent, you know? He could be decent.
Semi-decent.
Oh, and the last thing, not to ramble on too long, but the last thing is as far as appearances go, as Daniel mentioned, Monster Expo in October. In September, I am doing that signing at the Michelangelo Hotel in New York with Matt. And I think Dan's going to come and hang out too. Roland, are you coming to that?
Yeah, if y'all just let me know. Hell yeah, I'm coming.
It's on a weird day, though. It's on a Thursday, just so you know.
I gotta worry about job.
Okay, awesome. So, yeah, if you guys want to come and see all of us then, pretty much, the 3 of us here, and then Matt Shaw, who knows, maybe there'll be some other surprises. You'd have to have ordered Survivor's Guilt paperback, or if you're there, we'll say hi to you, like Matt said, but it's like the people that paid, we kind of have to also, be there for primarily, give them our attention. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got, guys. Sorry to ramble on so long, but exciting year.
A lot of stuff coming out. I'm excited for you guys. And
I don't know what Carver has coming out, but we know, like we talked about, that he just released Faces of Beth. I think that was his first release of the year. I don't know if the Maddening came out last year. So Carver Pike has Faces of Beth that's out now. I'm not sure what he's got working on. I know he has some other pen names, so I think he's probably trying to catch up on some of that stuff. But definitely check out Faces of Beth.
Absolutely. And I'll say one other thing before we get into the interview is that I potentially have a big movie-related announcement coming soon that will involve my readers specifically, and potentially a very special situation that I might be able to offer to one if someone has a good enough idea. A way for me to give back to my readers and viewers of the show, and be immortalized potentially. So we'll see if that comes. I'm gonna have more announcements on that, hopefully very soon. But I guess we should get into our interview now, right?
Let's talk to Elizabeth Bedlam.
Yes.
All right, so let's go. Let's move in and interview Elizabeth Bedlam. All right, thank you everyone for joining us here on Written in Red. That is the horror reader and writers podcast. For our interview segment, we are very fortunate to be graced with the presence of the wonderful Elizabeth Bedlam. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey,
Yeah, we know that you know, you don't do too much outward, so like we extra appreciate it, you know, because
no problem.
yeah,
I actually wasn't going to do it, but my fiance told me that I should. So he said I should be social. So I was like, okay. So you can thank him.
We're going to try and make it as painful as possible for you. Okay.
There's going to be awkward things. We have a lot of really, really awkward questions.
Okay.
Somebody usually will, you know, accidentally leave their microphone on and go yell at somebody else. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regret is looming.
Yeah, you'll regret it. We promise.
No, but so Elizabeth has many works available. I think some of maybe your more notable works are Hello Old Friend, which I got to check out recently. Puss and Lust, Daniel has spoken highly of that. Also Dead
the
When We
book,
Met.
the book, not like
just to clarify.
Personal feelings, yes.
Dead When We Met, that's another one of your titles. And you just have a relatively recent one, too, B.J. Swan, right? The Temperance Holocaust?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, the cover for that's really cool. It looks like a creepy death metal Bible, almost.
Yeah, it's about a band of black metal nuns that are spreading the word of soiled black metal Jesus across the southern United States circa 1998. So,
my favorite period. That's awesome. Yeah. Were you a big fan of the Lords of Chaos? Did you ever check into?
I like the book. The movie, I don't know. The parts with like at the beginning with like dead and stuff are pretty good, but I thought they kind of glamorized some of like the death scene at the end and stuff. I wasn't really comfortable with that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The book was incredible. I actually read it when I was working at Borders, like a long time ago. Obviously, because Borders doesn't exist anymore. But that book was so cool, and it's like filled with like pictures. And it's pretty violent imagery, like the real suicide photos, everything.
Yeah, pretty intense scene for sure.
No, definitely. So we want to definitely talk to you a little bit about that, of course, since that's the most recent release. But if it's cool, we wanted to kind of just maybe kick off with talking a little bit about how you got started and, you know, what sort of brought you to this point where you have all of these releases. I also see you're blowing up the audiobooks too. So we want to talk about that as well. But.
Okay. Well, I got started because I don't know. I've always done writing since I was like a child, and I used to write like, it's kind of embarrassing, but like fan fiction. Like when I found out that like Dracula was like a real person, I started reading about his like bios and things like that, like about like the original Impaler. I started writing like fairy tales and things like featuring like, you know, it's kind of like historical fiction / fan fiction. So I started doing that when I was like 12 or 13, and then I've just been writing ever since, but didn't really publish anything until like COVID hit and we were stuck inside and I had nothing else to do. So I was like, I might as well publish some stuff and get, you know, copies of my own books. I didn't think anyone was going to read anything. So
really, it felt like you've been publishing longer than since COVID.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I think February 2020, I started publishing like short stories and stuff for fun. And then probably about, I think it was like August, I released Hello Old Friend 2020, and then just kind of like started doing novels and stuff after that. So mostly short stories. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I listened to the audiobook too, and I noticed that you do all your audiobooks, which is awesome because it's fucking crazy expensive, number one, to produce them otherwise. But number two, I always feel like when the author's telling the story, you get things that you wouldn't get otherwise. You know, no matter how good the voice actor is, you're going to get certain nuances. And I picked up on that, I thought, with your stuff. I just hope it wasn't too real, some of that, you know?
I wrote that thinking it was supposed to be kind of funny. Actually, I wrote that as a dark humor book. Like, just because I find, like, wellness, like, cults and self-help gurus just, like, hilarious and weird. So I just thought, I don't know, I wrote it as a humor, but then everyone told me it was more like horror, and they're worried that I was super depressed. And I was like, no, I guess, like, I don't know, I was hoping with the audiobook some of, like, the dark humor would come across, and people might think it was kind of funny, but I don't know.
I definitely got that in the audiobook though.
Yeah.
Like when she's making like some of the smart remarks to herself, kind of, like, oh,
Huh?
she wears horned rimmed glasses, and like just
Yeah.
those little things that were funny, But
That's good.
Do you have?
oh, go ahead, guys. Sorry.
I was gonna say, do you have like a studio set up in your house to record your audiobooks, or is it just?
No, it's in my bedroom.
No
with
way.
my laptop and like a desktop mic, and that's it. And then I use Adobe Premiere to edit everything. Yeah.
That's
I'm
awesome.
cheap like that.
No, that's cool, man. I love audiobooks. So to know that you can do that yourself,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I mean, because those things get hella expensive.
Exactly. Yeah, I could never afford to do one otherwise unless I did everything myself. So I kind of like learned along the way because I never did like audio or video editing up until like last fall when I was like, I'm gonna make an audiobook, and then just did it.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I've seen lately on your Instagram page, which is pretty much, I believe it's your only social media you have, right? Is Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah.
I see you started doing some videos like book trailers and stuff, and they're really like macabre, and they're pretty cool looking. So obviously you have definitely have a talent with the editing, and I haven't listened to any of the audiobooks because I've read most of your stuff, but yeah, audio is incredibly expensive, but if you have a knack for it, then it's much better. And how long does it usually take you? Like, are you finding yourself messing up, or do you think it's easier because it's your own material to read it?
Well, every time if I'm reading something and I don't like the way it sounds, I'll just pause for a second and then I'll just keep reading so that way I can just edit that part out later. So it's better, I found, to read slowly and leave spaces in between so that way you can just cut out really like scenes that you don't like and then just re-record it. So
Wow.
it's easy.
Okay.
That's kind of cool. Like, I feel like you can apply that to writing books sometimes too, Like, if you're just kind of trying to push through and get to the end, if you know the story, and then sort of go back and revise. But
Exactly.
I think a lot of people don't have that mentality with audiobooks, and it can be like a very tedious process. So that's a cool tip,
Just keep going.
I think it was, I want to say it was Brian Keene, I'm pretty sure it was him, that when he has a section in his books that he has to research, he writes George Washington in like all caps. So he knows, like, rather than stopping to go research it, he writes this as a marker, and then we'll come back. So
That's smart.
Idea.
yeah, I mean, he's pretty good, I guess,
Yeah, he's all right?
He's all right. I mean, he's all right.
Fuck it. Just making a
Hey,
living.
Elizabeth, when you're doing this, like the recording of the audiobooks and you're writing, is this something your full-time job, or do you have another job on the side?
I actually do copywriting for automotive companies that actually pays me. So I do copywriting and like ghostwriting on the side, and then I just do the fiction stuff for fun. So
That's awesome.
I love your website when you talk about the ghostwriting, and you're just like, fuck you if you don't like it. Like, this is what you're getting. Like, I'll write for you, but this is what you get. I'll write whatever you want, but if you don't like it, then eat shit, kind of. So your website is hilarious.
Thank you. Oh.
So you said you started writing when you were pretty young, and then all your publishing stuff is relatively recent. We talk a lot about self-publishing on this podcast. It's kind of like the first, 20 episodes or so were more of like a how-to and just in writing and stuff. And now that we're doing guests, it's a question that we like to ask. Do you think that you prefer just the ultimate control of self-publishing, or are publishers something that you're open to? Does it not matter to you?
It doesn't really matter to me, but I kind of like doing everything myself because I kind of view writing as like kind of like a painting or like, an art piece. So I kind of like to have full control over the cover and what goes in it, and even down to like my copyright page and stuff like that. I like designed it all myself. So I just like doing all that stuff naturally. So I don't know, I think it'd feel weird to have someone else doing it for me. I think I'm too much of like a picky control freak person. Like, I want everything to kind of like match and line up. Whereas like I notice sometimes I'll read a book and the cover won't have almost anything to do with like what the actual story is about. And I just, I don't like that.
Yeah.
You have some amazingly unique covers, and I can always, from scrolling, I can always tell when it's one of your books without even having to read your name on it. Do you do commissions for covers, or you just do your own covers and that's it, or have you not given that any thought?
If people ask me, I wouldn't mind doing it. It's fun. It usually takes about 30 minutes, so 30, 40 minutes. If you like, I don't know if I'm doing it for someone else, it'd probably take longer, but for myself, since I know what I want, about 30, 40 minutes, and everything I use is open domain. So all the images and everything is all open domain. It's all done in Photoshop, so I wouldn't mind doing it for other people. It's fine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, 'cause some of your stuff is really like I have a couple of your books here. Like I have like Hello Old Friend, and I think you did a new cover for this, correct?
Yep.
And did you do a new one for Pus and Lust too?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I thought I saw them online, and they still look great. And it's just cool that you're able to do your own stuff like that, and to have that very unique style. That, like I said, when everybody scrolls by, it's almost like when we talk about with Matt Shaw with his original books, when he's had that black cover with the warning and the white font.
Yeah.
That it was, you know what it is, you know that's a Matt Shaw book, and I think it's the same thing for yours. The unique style that you have, it's definitely like your trademark.
Thank you.
Now that Pus and Lust cover that Daniel just showed, the older one, that is domain art too.
That one, I used to have. Well, when I first started, I got a subscription to Shutterstock, so that one's actually from Shutterstock, and then I like changed the colors on it. But all my most recent stuff, probably in the past year, have all been open domain. Along with like all my videos and stuff like that, that's all like open domain. All the sounds and stuff on my audiobooks, all like public domain and things like that. So try to like use that to kind of keep costs down and support other artists. So.
That's
Yeah, there's like a wealth of shit that is at people's fingertips, and it's like you just have to kind of have the tools to search for it. Even I used one public domain image in one of my books that was like just so fucking cool. It was like from some old Catholic book or something, and it was like, you know, those creepy old portraits of like the devil, and he's like fucking hammering. He's like hammering nails through this guy's face, and I'm like, this is free. Like this
was that the one
that could be a cover.
Was that the one you were going to use for All Smiles?
I was considering doing an alternate cover with it, but I ended up settling on like putting it before the essay in the back of it.
Okay.
So I still used it, but
I remember you showing me that picture, and it's fucking definitely creepy and has a fucked up vibe to it.
Right. But that's a great point, and I think like something that you know, the sort of young authors hopefully listening to this podcast can consider too. You know what I mean? To keep costs low, especially like, you know, if you don't really have the finance to put a lot into it, maybe you want to spend that on editing instead. You know what I mean? And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think like one of the problems is that like when you read advice online about self-publishing, they make it sound like you need to spend thousands of dollars in order to get your book out there, and I just don't think that's the case. I think that kind of like, I don't know, kind of like is disheartening, because a lot of people probably feel like, you know, I don't have, you know, $5,000 to pour into a book, when really if they would just, you know, knew that there was open domain and public sources and things out there, and how easy it is to publish even just like an ebook on Amazon, I think we'd see like a lot more like, I don't know, interesting voices in the publishing indie like publishing circles. But
yeah, and not to mention just like a pretty solid community overall of like people that are relatively affordable and have been doing this for enough time to kind of be able to help with editing. And there's, you know, we have a few people that have been on this podcast that offer reasonable rates for that, and cover stuff too, you know. Exactly. But
yeah, editing is one of those things where you don't want to skimp on, but you also don't need to spend, like you said, $2,000-$3,000 on an editor.
Yeah.
We've worked with editors that are very inexpensive and that do quality work, and they only cost, depending on the word count, a couple $100.
Yeah, that's
whereas I've been approached when I was new and I was really looking for editors, and I was the same way. Like I thought, oh my God, I have to spend thousands of dollars, because I emailed this editor, a couple of them, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and I'll do this draft, and each one cost, you know, 5 cents a word. And I'm like, I can't afford this. I'm like, nobody knows who I am. And even, you know, that's a lot of money. And even now I have like 8 readers. So like, I don't even think I could support it now. So
exactly.
Oh, such a modest boy. You got more than 8. Come on now.
No, I have 3 of them here. I know Aaron's read at least one of my books. So
hey man, I'm working on it. I'm a shit reader. You know I'm a shit reader. You know,
I told you I'm gonna do a fucking coloring book for you.
Yeah.
A non-toxic crayon, so you don't poison yourself.
All right, that's fine.
No.
Elizabeth, like of the books that you have published so far, what was the most enjoyable or the best one that you had the best time writing?
I think probably Human Hearts and Hog Parts is my favorite. It was a novel. It's about this schizophrenic teenage girl that kind of like gets obsessed with this like weird underground like poet slash like musician, and she thinks that he's like talking to her through like his art. So she like is like trying to like find him, and like she thinks that somehow she's going to like, you know, join with him, and they're going to create like this amazing underground movement, but like it's mostly just like her delusions. So
Okay.
and then finally, yeah, so that's probably my favorite one. It was the easiest to write. It came out in like a month or so, and probably the one I like the best.
And that one has an audiobook as well?
Nope, that one doesn't. It's too
Not
long.
yet.
I haven't got a chance to do it yet.
Cool. Awesome.
I think the first thing I read from you was Digger Deep. That's the short story, right?
Yep.
That was good too. And then I really obviously I love Hello Old Friend just because I thought it was pretty dark. But I think one of the most humorous ones that I read, that really was just laugh out loud. Some of it was Scrape.
Oh, yep.
Like Scrape is just it's with all the cats and this guy and doing these like back alley abortions and his mom. It was just like I'm reading it. I'm like, what the fuck did she write in this? It was it's wild. It's definitely fun though. I really enjoyed that one.
It's great.
Scrape, yeah. It's got a picture. For those of you that aren't watching, it has a picture of a hanger, a cat, and what appears to be a blood stain of some kind there. Yeah, it's good. And of course, I have the signature, Bedlam signature in there, which actually looks normal. In the
Hey, wait.
That
Cool.
was pretty good.
Yeah. I could never figure that out. I kept messaging. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I never realized it was Bedlam backwards.
Smearing it, so I thought I'd just do it backwards and save myself the worry.
That's awesome.
You made my brain hurt trying to figure out what it said the whole time. I had to message you, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell this means.
That's cool.
So what's so you're publishing, you're doing a lot of self-publishing, you have a great catalog now, solid work, and it's like, what are your ambitions? Do you kind of just treat it sort of like, well, whatever will come of it will sort of come of it, and I just enjoy publishing, or do you see yourself doing maybe like conventions and stuff, or networking, anything like that?
I don't think I'd ever have the audience for conventions or anything like that. I'm still shocked that I have like 5 readers and people like looking at my stuff. So I don't know. This is probably the most like social I've ever been concerning reading and writing. So
trust me, you have a following, and I know, like I said, you're on Instagram, so you don't see it as much. But there's a page on Facebook called Books of Horror, and like literally you have people like dedicated to you that are always talking
weird.
about. It's very weird because we always feel that way too. Like when people mention our stuff, but you have followers, and like I said, if you ever want to go in the Facebook rabbit hole, create a Facebook page and join Books of Horror. I'm telling you, it will. And like I said, you would you probably have fun at a convention. It's a good time. Everybody's very, very relaxed. That we're doing Scares That Care in the AuthorCon again, and it was such a good time. But trust me, you're gonna see all the questions we read to. You have a following, and some of them aren't even questions. Some of them are like, "I love her. Her stuff is awesome. I want to read more." So trust me.
Weird.
Yeah, I think part of it is like, it just depends if that's what you want too. You know what I mean? Like if you're just content with sort of just publishing and laying low, then that's all more power to you. But I think we're saying is that you probably, like, we've kind of been able to garner followings relatively recently, and like you're every bit as good and as consistent, or if not better than what we're doing. So it's like, I really think that if you did go into some of those situations, like the groups and stuff, and I know Facebook sucks, but for the most part, honestly, like my feed is completely clean. It's all just horror shit, because all I do is interact with horror shit. But
yeah, we boot the trolls out.
I get the fucking
trolls.
I get the stigma that it's like it's kind of like too much sometimes too. But
that's how I feel about Twitter.
A long time ago, like in 2009, and there was just negativity everywhere, and everyone was always complaining about stuff, and everyone was always posting about how depressed they were, and I was like, dang, this is really sad, and I just got out of there.
It's actually the opposite in Books of Horror. I feel like that's one group. It's like you don't have any of that drama in there. At least I never really see it. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
The admins on Books of Horror, and we always shout them out because they're awesome. They fucking destroy anybody that tries to create and there's 20,000 followers on Books of Horror, and the admins are like vultures. They jump on that and they boot those people. They delete the comments immediately. So if you create a Facebook page just to go on Books of Horror, it will be well worth it. And like Aaron said, some people don't want it. If you want to be like, the Bentley Little of indie horror and just kind of, sit there and write for yourself and put stuff out, and you can, but you have fans, and
we'll share your shit if you won't.
We'll share the shit out of your shit. This video is going to get like 12 views, which is probably double than the Matt Shaw episode, because
I'm not looking forward to editing that.
There's so much shit
You're
in that
gonna edit
episode.
it?
No, I'm not going to edit it.
I was gonna say
I probably should, but I'm not going to.
We're gonna get thrown off YouTube for that one, so you might not. This one might not even air.
I forgot there was some stuff on there.
But
yeah,
what about your inspirations? Like, as far as like I haven't read a ton of your stuff, but obviously the mental health stuff seems to be a somewhat of a theme in a couple books at least, right?
Yeah.
But where does it come from? Is it just stuff that is weird shit that you were always intrigued by, or?
I don't know. It kind of just happened. I guess it's just something I've always been interested in. When I was in school, I studied a lot of like health and wellness and things like that. So I just always find it kind of interesting how it can affect different people, and how some people are completely fine and they function, and other people just have a really hard time struggling with it. And I talk to people that, say they have tons of like anxiety and they're just, scared and worried all the time. And so I guess it's just always been like a constant presence in my life. I've known like people that have suffered from schizophrenia and things. And I just was like kind of intrigued, but then I always kind of like, empathized with them a lot and things like that. So I guess it just kind of showed up like as like a side effect of just being exposed to a lot of stuff like that when I was younger.
Yeah, it's a fucked up thing. It's like, because it's like, you can, like, I think I put this in your review, something like, you can fix a broken arm easily, but a broken brain is like, there's like, what are you going to do? There's just some people that are never going to be well, and then there's others that are going to find a way through it, and it's kind of just a roll of the dice. Like, everybody's different, and it's like...
Exactly, and that's kind of scary. I mean, because... really, if there's something wrong with your brain, you can't get away from it. I mean, you can try to medicate it and manage it and things like that, but it's always going to be a constant presence in your life. So, I don't know, I always found that kind of like scary. Like, you can try to manage it as best as you can, but there's always going to be like good days and bad days and things like that. So you can't really ever get away from it.
Yeah, medication's like tricky too, because then it's like, we have a lot of medications, and I've seen this personally with, different people in my life, where it's like, they get on one medication, and then there's like a new set of problems as a result, and then they're taking other medications to counteract the side effect of this medication, and it becomes this bizarre web of madness, and it's just like...
Yeah, it does.
And I don't know. It just...
And a lot of times with some of those medications, they're like trial and error. They're like, hey, listen, you're depressed, so... here's this pill. Let's try this. And you're like, well, I took this and I feel even worse. And like, all right, well, let's try this for 60 days. And you're like, well, this is fucking horrible. Like, and it's just like, or what's even worse for some people is that it will work for a little while, and then you'll become dependent on it, or you'll get used to it, and then it starts to not work. And then you're like,
exactly.
Now we're back to square one. So, and I think it's important that you do cover the mental health thing in there, because for readers that do suffer from that, and I don't, Mothers of Mayhem, it's another podcast. They just did a mental health episode. And I think it's important for people to read that in fiction, just so that they can see it and know that they're not alone, and that you're putting stuff out there for them that they can maybe sympathize with, and maybe find a little bit of that black humor in there, which a lot of your story, I don't think I've read anything of yours that doesn't have some kind of black humor in it. And not that we make light of it, but it kind of just gives them a little bit of comfort, I guess.
Yeah, well, if you're going through like a really tough situation, sometimes all you can really do is either let it get you down, or just kind of laugh at it and go through it with like, the best spirit you can. So
Yeah.
We laugh so we don't cry.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I'm crying because we're missing Carver Pike. He's not here right now.
Missing is a strong word to use.
That's
He's
it,
not.
Carver.
He's not here.
No.
That is.
He's not missed. He's just not present. Is what we're trying to say.
Are you familiar with Carver Pike?
I've seen his books and things like that, but I haven't got a chance to read them yet.
Okay.
Do you know what
Yeah.
he looks like?
Reading them. No.
He looks like an adult Jimmy Neutron. So if you know who Jimmy Neutron is. Yeah, he's a very, very pretty man. But
Yeah.
he's got beautiful hair.
Actually, speaking of Carver Pike, so Carver Pike has some various pen names too. So he writes a little bit of the Heartthrob as well. Do you do anything in other genres, or do you plan to, or is this kind of just one flavor for you?
I kind of just do everything underneath my name. I mean, I might eventually do something like maybe I'll do like young adult fiction or something like that under a different name, just because like it wouldn't really fit with like what I do now. And but right now it's just Bedlam.
And it's
I've done like
mostly
some
horror.
ghostwriting work for like short stories and things like that, but that's about it.
Yeah. So you were in Between the Spider's Eyes. I forget. Is it eyes?
I think it's eyes. Yeah, they have more than one. So
They do. They have 8 eyes.
Yeah.
I think.
They have a fuck ton of them.
Yeah.
I have 4, but
I think you have 3. I've seen a brown one,
oh,
but
come on now.
I'm sorry.
I thought, are we gonna go down that road?
I'm sorry.
So-
Go ahead. Continue.
You've done. We were fortunate enough to be in that anthology with you, which was cool. I thought it was an awesome anthology.
Yeah, it's really good.
Are you planning on doing other stuff like that too, or I don't know if you have. To be honest, I haven't looked through everything in your catalog, but
I've only done that one. I did one other one from, let's see, what was it? The Bradranomicon that came out a couple,
Yeah.
I think it was in February. It came out, I gave a story to that. So those are the only 2 I've done.
are you familiar with
I'd
Brad?
be open to doing it like more, but
That's cool. Are you familiar with Brad, or was that just something you did for River?
no, I've seen him on Instagram and Goodreads and things like that. So I've never talked to him or anything, but I've seen that he's like a big horror fan reader and stuff. So I was like, why not?
Yeah,
He's a super fan.
Yeah.
Like he is insane, and he is awesome. The guy breathes, eats, sleeps horror. He loves it, and like I said, if you join the dark side of Facebook, you'll see him a lot more. He gets banned like every other month. He has like 12 different pages because he'll post things, and yeah, like some of the things we say in the show are off color, but some of the things that he says on there are just absolutely ridiculous.
Nice.
But
in a good way though. I think it's all like it's always
all
like fun
and
shit. It's
jest.
never like shit that honestly should be banned or
No.
I don't know what. I'm not trying to say anything should be banned, but you know what I mean. Like not his shit is not that bad, but he's fucking nuts, dude. He got a like a custom vape. He's like, "Hey B, give me the high res images of the slob and son of the slob," and he got a custom vape with the slob on the front, the son of the slob on the back, and a fucking digital readout with the original slob art. I don't even know where he got it.
Yeah.
Like it's on the digital readout. He's like,
That's awesome.
"This is so when I vape on my show." He's like, "I could show off," and then he's like, "I love you, man."
Yeah.
Awesome.
That guy's great.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
cool.
He is he's definitely a super fan. Like he has all of our stuff, arcs of our stuff. He bought the Reincarnage from Ryan Harding and Jason Taverner. The cover of that book. He bought the original painting of that. Like the guy is.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
He loves marijuana and horror, and that's pretty much all he focuses
He
on.
likes metal too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Things.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
They all go
You,
hand in hand, you know.
And they go
Yeah.
well together.
So, yeah, I think I'll be interested to see where you go next. Are you doing larger works in the future? You said you did a couple novels, right? Or
Yeah, I've done a couple. I released one in January and one in December. And then I did a couple with BJ Swan. I did 2 with him. And then I did the Human Hearts one, but everything else is like novellas and short stories.
That's awesome.
oh
When
yeah,
you're writing, do you have like a system? Is there like, what's your process? Do you outline or do you just go for it?
I just go for it. Sometimes it's just like I'll just like a title or like a series of words, and I'll build something like around that. So, and I'll just make it up as I go along.
That's awesome. Do you ever get to a point where you like have writer's block and just don't know what to do next?
Nope, I just keep going.
What? I struggle with
Sometimes I'll
that
delete like 50 pages if I don't like the way it looks. I'll just delete like a whole bunch. So I'm not afraid to just cut it all out. But I try to sit down every day at least for like 2 to 3 hours to just write, fiction. And even if it sucks, I'll just delete it the next day and just like rewrite it. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's impressive.
Where sometimes it's a little hard and I get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't move past that part until I figure it out in my head. So that's the struggle that I've had sometimes. And when you're writing, are you able to like jump between stories, or do you tend to focus on one story, get that done, and then move to the next?
When I was doing short stories, I was doing like 2 or 3 at a time. But then when I started doing like novellas and novels and stuff, I usually just try to focus on that one thing so that way I can keep like themes and that stuff like consistent. So
yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, talk about BJ a little bit too. He's really cool.
Yeah,
I remember like when I first started writing, kind of seeing him on Facebook and stuff. I don't know if he's on Facebook anymore.
I think he's on it once in a while, but every time I talk to him, he just bitches about how much he hates it, so he doesn't go on there very often.
Oh, and that's maybe deterring
stuff.
you, you know?
His stuff is so
encourage me to be social.
Yeah, that was a question I had was how did you link up with BJ Swan? Because he writes a lot of his stuff was like kind of fantasy-esque.
Yeah, it's like acid trip fantasy. It's like really weird modern fantasy with like over the top like horror, like grotesque like horror scenes and sex scenes and stuff. So it's kind of like really dirty fantasy. I love it. But he read one of my books and sent me an email, and we just started talking. And we just realized that we both had like similar writing styles and really liked what the other one was doing. So we were like, hey, let's write a book. So that's what we did. And now we just talk all the time. So.
What was the Holocaust Hearts? Was that the 1st one you guys did together?
Yep.
Now, we've talked with other authors on, because it always fascinates us about collaboration process. How did you guys go about this process? Was that outlined? Did you have a rough idea? Did you bounce ideas, or did you write like 1,000 words and kick it back, or how did you guys do this?
When we first started, he kind of came up with the initial outline, and then we each had our own characters. So he would write all the scenes with his characters, and then I would write my scenes, And then when we did dialogue, we would just get into chat, and then we would just write dialogue live, so that way it had like a natural organic flow to it. The tricky part, though, was that since he's in Australia and I'm here, there would be like a 14, 16-hour time difference, so we could only do it for like 2 to 3 hours, like in the evening. So I'd be like super tired, and he'd be super awake, so I'd drink a lot of coffee to keep up with him.
Was it first person or third person perspectives for your characters in the book?
Third person.
Okay.
Third person, yeah.
But you guys felt that your writing style was similar enough that you could write your own parts and then just focus on dialogue. Is that, yeah.
Yeah, we have like the same vein of like kind of like dark humor. So we kind of that deadpan kind of stuff that some people don't like, but I don't think there's enough of. So.
Yeah, fuck them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck them.
I do love your copyright page. Like I was just flipping through Holocaust Hearts and stuff. Like it's really like a very unique. I'll hold it up for the camera, but I don't know, everybody should just go buy this and they can see it themselves. But very, very unique.
Yeah.
Just everything about it is pretty interesting. And like I said, people know when they see your style, like that kind of setting, I guess you'd say, in the font especially. It's pretty unique. It's almost like a serial killer cutting out magazine clippings. That's kind of what some of this stuff looks like. Like you're just cutting little pieces and pasting them here, and holding kids for ransom and whatnot. That's cool. It's cool, I guess.
Thank you.
You don't have Carter Pike over there, do you? We can't find him.
Yeah, he's missing in action. Hey, Elizabeth, has it like always been horror for you? Did you enjoy reading horror and then just kind of started writing it as well?
I'm kind of a big horror snob, but there's a lot of horror that I hate. Like, it's very rare that I will find something that I'm like, wow, that's really good. Like, horror movies, I've seen a lot of, like, first 10 minutes, and then I just am like, nope, and I'll just get rid of it. I find that, like, character development and stuff in horror is usually, like, kind of not good. especially like they'll just have like especially in movies, like the characters will be really bland and like slasher movies, the characters will be really bland and unlikable, and I'm like, I don't care if these people die, why am I watching this? So I don't know.
Is there a horror movie recently that you did like?
Well, I watched this one. It came out, I think, like 4 years ago. It's called Hounds of Love. That was based on this like serial killer husband and wife back in like the 80s, and they would like drive around and like coax young girls back to their house, and they would like turn them into these like sex slaves, and then they would just after a couple of days just murder them and bury them out in the woods. And they got like 12 girls. That one was really good. It was really unnerving. They did a good job with it, I think.
All right,
that's good.
And so that's a movie. What's a good horror book that you probably can go back to over and over?
I don't know, when I was younger, I liked pretty much anything by Poppy Z. Bright. I thought she was like the ultimate. She was really good. And then I also read House of Leaves. That's one of my favorites. I know a lot of people don't like it. They think it's like difficult to get through, but I think it's like completely brilliant. I love it. So
okay,
Poppy Z. My top picks.
Oh, awesome. All right.
I have House of Leaves, and I'm like scared to start it because I'm like I kind of am like I have 2 kids. Obviously, you can see the fucking the doll dungeon behind me.
He doesn't have any kids. It's horse shit.
That's all his fault.
These are my children. I'm always afraid to kind of start that because I'm afraid of how labor intensive it's going to be for my pea brain to try to pay attention to what's going on in that book. I'd probably need like solitary confinement or something like that to really understand that book. But I've heard great things about it.
It's pretty amazing. I find like because every time you read it, it can be different because there's footnotes and then footnotes of footnotes and things like that, or you can just skip the footnotes and just read completely through the entire book. So I don't know. I really like how every time you pick something up like that, it can take you down a different path and show you something that you might have missed the first time you read it. So it's kind of one of those books that you can read, 4 or 5 times, and it's always different. I think that's pretty incredible. And it's really eerie, too, so that's cool.
Awesome. Now, I know you're obviously, whether you don't believe it or not, you do have a following in indie horror. Are there any indie authors, obviously besides us, you don't have to say us, well, are there any...
It goes without saying.
Yeah, it goes without saying. We don't have to say it. Are there any indie authors out there? Oh, we lost Roland. Any indie authors you've read recently that you've liked or you've seen around, or you just kind of sticking to more of the mainstream stuff?
Probably one of the ones that I've just discovered in like the last year or so is this chick from Canada. Her name's Rebecca May Holiday. She writes really interesting, unique things, mostly short stories, but she did one novel called Necromancy Cottage that was just like kind of like a dark fairy tale, like magic realism type deal, and it was just really, really good. I love her stuff. But a lot of her stuff she's like unpublished, so whenever I see something like that she like puts up on Amazon, I always make sure I grab it so I can read it, because she doesn't do ebooks, she only does paperbacks. So, and then I read this book by this other guy called Homeless, and it's like it's like this sad book of like short stories and poems and stuff about just being homeless and eating at McDonald's, and that was pretty brilliant. I like that. So those are probably my 2 favorites right now.
So was it actually written by a homeless dude?
I don't know if he's homeless or not. At the back, he looks pretty homeless. His like author photos, just like him in like a dirty T-shirt with like a teddy bear standing on a New York street. So I don't know. He could very well be homeless. A lot of his poems are about being homeless and how much it sucks not having a home. So I don't know.
Can you imagine if he was just publishing via the public library, like his books and shit, and then like he had nowhere to get his royalties? That would suck, dude.
Yeah, you can't make a PayPal account with nothing else to your name.
Yeah. Let's hope they're paying him right.
Where's he gonna get his inspiration from then if he has a home?
Yeah, that's true.
It's gonna be like lower middle class now.
I think he would prefer there not to be a sequel. Like
probably. Yeah. We don't need to follow up to this.
Oh man! All right. Well, so do you guys want to maybe get into some of the reader questions and shit like that, or?
Yes. Actually, let me go first. My internet came back
Absolutely.
on, so I was able to put my phone down and
Look
start
at
my
you.
laptop up. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm cooking with grease now, buddy. So,
Chill.
so I have a few questions from Dawn Keat. Did I say it right? I always mess up her name. So the first question is, if you were a fictional killer, how would you kill your victims?
Oh, I don't know. I guess it just depends if I was really mean and want them to suffer for a long time. I mean, I guess I'd keep them in confinement and then just like slowly starve them to death.
Oh, that's horrible.
Just, like, yeah.
It's a bad way to go.
Really a hands-on type person, so I'd probably just like chain them up and just like leave them.
All right, she had a second question also. She said, has any books or films actually scared you?
There's this movie from the 80s. It's called Mommy Dearest. Have you seen that? I think Joan Crawford was completely terrifying, and so that used to scare me when I was a child because it used to remind me of my mother. So yeah.
Did you see her in did you like her in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane?
Oh yeah, she was spooky in that one. That was a good movie.
So good. That's like one of my favorite movies. And then she had one other question. Let's take my glasses off.
Oh, now it's official.
Do you have anything you like listening to when writing, or is there anything else you do to motivate your writing, like a certain routine that you have?
I have absolutely no routine. I just sit down for some time for a few hours every day and try to write. As far as like music, not usually. I'll listen to music maybe like throughout the day that I find kind of like inspirational, but it's mostly like classical and stuff like that for the most part, like without like lyrics and things.
Yeah.
But usually when I'm writing, I usually don't have anything on, or I'll listen to like nature noises, like desert wind and snowstorm and stuff. But that's about it.
Okay, I like that. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll do like white noise, like fire burning or like thunderstorms.
It's soothing. I like it.
It's just easier, and I use like noise canceling headphones, and you can hear nothing else besides those sounds, and it just it eliminates one of your senses essentially, so I don't have to worry about hearing anything, and it kind of focuses me a little bit. So
exactly, it really helps focus.
Yeah.
Do you like classical music?
I like all kinds of music except for like rap and R&B.
Like, who's one of your favorite one of your favorite singers?
I don't know. I really like Pink Floyd a lot. I used to listen to them when I was younger. Yeah, I love Pink Floyd. I like a lot of like 1970s rock and roll, like Black Sabbath and things like that. I like a lot of black metal. I like, when it comes to classical stuff, I like Philip Glass and Max Richter and things. So I'm kind of all over the board. Kind of just depends what mood I'm in, I guess. I like the Cramps and punk rock and stuff a lot too.
Awesome. Have you ever heard of Enya?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like her?
Yeah, she's fine. I don't
She's
think
awesome.
against her.
And what about Kate Bush?
Oh,
No.
jeez. Come on, Roland.
Come on,
Leave
Roland.
me alone.
God
I love
damn it,
Kate
man.
Bush.
Roland, it's a family show.
You even
Hey,
fucking set me
No,
off.
she's an awesome singer. She's like so, I don't know, ethereal. That's a good word.
Roland, you gotta stop asking guests this. We're not gonna get anybody back.
No, we have to get to know Elizabeth on a personal level as well. So shut up,
I'm
Daniel.
against Kate Bush. She's fine.
All right, I was just curious.
Yeah, good thing we fucking trigger Roland over there. It's like,
Yeah, right.
hey, we got some things from the Facebook feed. You got a bunch of comments there. Michael James, when he saw this post, Michael James, he's a really big fan of all things extreme.
Yeah,
Buys
I've talked to him
everybody's.
a couple times. He's super nice.
Oh, you've talked to him? Cool.
Yeah, he sent me some emails and things.
He's awesome. Yeah, he simply says Bedlam rocks. That was his comment.
We're gonna skip Matt Shaw's.
Yeah, we'll skip Matt Shaw's. Killer Bunny Charlie. Have you talked to her at all? She's really like
On Instagram a little bit.
okay.
Yes. Yep.
She says, "Why are you so pretty?" And then she says, "More seriously though, what is your favorite book of all time?" And that you have read and that you've written. It looks like so. But I think you said the one House of Leaves already, right? For the
House of Leaves, definitely one of my favorites of all time. As far as written, probably the Human Hearts and Hog Parts one is definitely my favorite.
That's right. All right, we We did her questions already. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You want to read a couple, Dan?
Yeah, I'm just looking through a lot of them are just comments on people how excited they are that you're on the show. Dawn Keat said, looking forward to seeing you. I seen the episode. She said the emails are the ones that Roland just read. Christy Chapman just said how cool that she loved Hello Old Friend. And Amazon randomly recommended it to her one rainy day, and she never heard of it and grabbed it and loved it and thinks it deserves more hype. Andre just said it was exciting. Let's see. Travis Davis, he's awesome. He said Elizabeth is a beast.
Nice. I like him.
Yeah, he's super cool. I really like him. Okay, so Ray Howe, another huge supporter of the show. He says, I haven't read much from Elizabeth. In fact, I believe I only have the pleasure of reading Poached Eggs from the Between a Spider's Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to know, where do you draw your inspiration for such a uniquely gross and disturbing story? I loved it, and what would you recommend I read from you next, now that you know what I like? Thank you.
Well, the inspiration came from this, this toad. I forget where it's from, like somewhere in South America, I think. And this toad, lays eggs on its back and then, grows the eggs, in its skin. And then, the little babies, burst out. It's, the most Suriname toad, that's what it's called. It's, the most disturbing video you can find on YouTube, I think. It's just disgusting. So kind of like that, and there's this show called Monsters Inside Me. I don't know if you ever saw that, about weird parasites stuff that grow inside people. So yeah, that's where it comes from. I'm really scared of bugs and stuff getting inside of me and laying eggs and things. So
do you guys ever get like a pain in your body or just a discomfort, and you'll be like, there's something inside me, dude. I know I've probably ate some raw pork and there's something evil in there. You feel a tickle in your ear and you think you got an earwig or something like that. I saw a video the other day of this guy pulling a fucking a centipede out of this woman's ear. And I was thoroughly horrified.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
My teacher in school told me a story about a kid that was on a swing set, and I think they ended up portraying this on Monsters Inside, but I heard it well before, and he went off the swing and fell in the fucking sand, and his face landed in dog shit. And I guess there was a fucking worm or parasite in the dog shit, and it went behind his eye and fucking ate his eyeball out and went into his brain and stuff.
Wow. Oh my God, jeez.
Yeah, I'm all set. That and those the fucking, what are they? It's lake water. There's certain types of amoebas or parasites in the lakes that can get into your brain. That's it. You're fucked. You're done. They're gonna eat your whole brain.
Terrifying. Flesh-eating bacteria.
They wouldn't have much to eat with you.
Roland, come on. So nice to you. But you're true. You're right. I'm not gonna fight it. You guys have all read my stuff. You know that.
Nah,
it's very good stuff, Dan. It's very good.
Guys being hurtful.
But that I was gonna say turd. That toad thing.
Turd.
With the holes on the back. There's a word for it. I don't know. It's trachea something.
Trypophobia or something like that.
The fear of a bunch of holes like that.
Yeah.
I have that. I do not like that.
I'm so fucking glad I know that now.
I do not like that. That's why in the hotel room, that's why.
Yeah. You have no fear of holes. Come on. Knock it off.
No, that shit does freak me out though. That's a legitimate. I'm not scared of many things, but that I'm definitely fearful of. I don't know why.
All right, I'll go through some more of these here. Russell Holbrook just said that he's just happy that you're getting some recognition and that you're awesome.
Oh wait, Rachel, we gotta have her recommend the book to Ray though.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I kind of interrupted that, so that's my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, talk about your fear of holes. Go ahead. The Shia LaBeouf movie? The Shia LaBeouf movie you didn't like, or? It's excellent. Go ahead.
I'm a Disney fan,
Okay. Shia LaBeouf musical? Shia LaBeouf musical is even better.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure Elizabeth would love his raps too.
All right, we're off the rails. All right, Elizabeth, please recommend a book for Ray so he can go out.
I guess if you like to poach eggs, he'd probably like the Puss and Lust body horror stuff. Those are all pretty gross, and so you probably like that one. I think probably the best.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I really, obviously, I like Rolling the Sun. It's fucking disgusting as it is. What was the Saddle Nose? That was one, right? Yeah, Saddle Nose in there. Saddlenose is good too. They're all good in that collection, but definitely
that
Rolling the
one's
Sun.
Also on Audible now too. You just released that on Audible,
Yeah,
right?
I just finished that one.
So
Yeah, it's got music in it.
Ray's really good about leaving reviews too. So Ray, if you read it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll definitely like that. If you like
awesome
the
at that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he goes very in good reviews. Especially he's a big contributor to our Facebook page for Written in Red. We have a Facebook page, so if you join Facebook, you could join that as well. People will love you.
You're trying to pressure me into like joining Facebook. I'm not going to do it.
All right, we're gonna make
Facebook,
a ghost account.
If Facebook was a toilet, the Written in Red podcast discussion would be the whole. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
You're yelling at me, so we got to be on our best behavior. We can't say anything rude, and you're talking about urinal cakes and holes in the toilet.
I think we all made mistakes tonight. Let's leave it at that.
Elizabeth definitely made one by coming on the show.
Oh no.
We're sorry. We're sorry.
Is there anything that you're working on right now? Like, do you have something in the works?
I just finished a book called Such Tragedies. It's going to come out at the end of June, and it's about like a doctor and his wife and a doppelganger. So.
Ooh, I love doppelgangers.
Love
Yeah.
doppelgangers.
And the name's an anagram too. So.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
You said Puss in Love does have an audiobook that you just released.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I hang up, I'm going by it because I have it on ebook, but I love audiobooks, so it's just so much easier to listen to them. So I'm gonna
Roland's our audiobook freak. There, he loves them all.
I love my audiobooks. Yes, nice.
See, a lot of people I talk to, I ask them if they like listen to audiobooks, and they're like, no, I never listened to them. So I was wondering how big the market actually was for them, because it seems like everyone, like I asked, they're like, yeah, I've never read or I've never listened to an audiobook, so I wasn't sure how big the audience was.
Have you seen, like?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead, Roland.
Since you've started putting out your audiobooks, have you seen like an increase in sales or really good sales in audiobooks versus paperback or ebook?
I think I do most of my sales in paperback, but like the audiobooks and stuff, as I put out like more, I noticed like the sales are becoming a little bit more steady, but still like nothing compared to like print.
Okay.
So if I was paying for it, I probably would never make my money back.
I think you're probably right. Like, there's definitely way less, and it's actually other people that have come on the podcast have said this too. Like even Patrick from Death's Head Press, he said that was one thing he was a little disappointed in, was just like audio sales overall. But I think if you get like sort of that one book that hits and like fucking gets shared a shit ton on TikTok or something, like you can't really control it. It's just sort of may happen or it may not. And it's like if you get that one book, then it can get pretty lucrative. Like I've seen good success with the Slob because I kind of got lucky with it hitting on TikTok. And then the other books have been pretty good, you know what I mean? But not quite anywhere near that one, you know what I mean? But I think there's people there, but there are, like you said, there are certain people that are just like, I mean, I had a reader today that they're in Saudi Arabia, they're looking for my stuff, and they're like, can only get it on Audible, but they're just like, audiobooks just aren't my thing. Like, there's a lot of people like that, I think, but
yeah, the one thing I've heard as well with Audible is that I don't have Audible. I do have Audible, but I don't have like a subscription. I just have the app. But for people that will get these monthly credits, they don't want to use a credit on something that's 3 or 4 hours long. They want something that's longer. And actually, Aaron and I were talking about this earlier about combining some of a couple of novellas. And since you do all of your stuff on your own, if you combine like 3 or 4 things to make like a 12-hour book or something like that on there, it might be able to push it a little bit more. Speaking of audio, have you thought of doing audio for other people and going out as a narrator yourself, since you've gotten kind of the hang of it?
I would be open to it. Like, I don't have any problem with it, but I haven't like gone out there and like advertised myself. Like, I figure like if someone like listens to my stuff and they like the way I read it, if they want to contact me, I'd probably be open to doing it. So
that's cool. Because I have to listen to some of your stuff. I've read a lot, but I didn't even know you had anything on audio, so I'll have to definitely check some of that out, because I am going to be looking for a female narrator in the near future. So.
Yeah, I'll read your stuff. It's fine.
Be cool.
I think you'll like her style. I thought it was awesome. I thought you did a great job. It sounded professional.
Thank you. That was my first one that I did, so I'm glad it didn't sound too bad. I got a better microphone since then, so.
Oh, good. So if it's better, even better than that, I thought it was awesome though. I thought you did a great job.
Yeah.
Hey, do you do any kind of like promoting or advertising? I know I heard him mention that you do the video trailers, but aside from that, do you do any kind of promoting for your stuff?
Nope.
Really? Okay.
Nope. I'm not a careerist at all. Nope. I don't even think about it.
Nice. Okay.
The only reason I started doing like trailers and like stuff on like Instagram was because, again, my fiance told me that I should. He's a bit more business minded than I am, so I just take his advice.
Well, that's okay, because it seems like your stuff is getting shared. So, I mean, we talked about this also, like word of mouth is like one of the biggest promoting, you know, tools that we use. So thank God for our readers.
Exactly.
Actually, one of our questions has to do with your Instagram, and it's from Rachel Mason, who is another amazing, phenomenal supporter of ours. And she just says, I love her Instagram, and I want to know where she gets all those cool pictures she posts. Does she take them all?
Yep, I take them all with my phone.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Do you live in like a graveyard or something, or?
Seriously.
Well, the recent like really cool graveyard ones, I was in Los Angeles, and they have the Forever Hollywood Cemetery, which is like, if you ever go to Los Angeles, it's like probably the coolest place to go in the city. It's free, and it's this giant, amazing cemetery with all these like mausoleums, and you can just walk around. And there's like there's celebrities and stuff, but they have like a Russian section and like a Jewish cemetery, and it's just completely beautiful. And there's like wildlife all over the place, like coyotes and like hawks and stuff. It's pretty amazing, and it's like right in the center of Hollywood. So
really,
that's
where's
awesome.
that at? Like I go out there all the time, and I never seen this place.
yeah, it's like right near Melrose. So
wow.
yeah, it's giant. It's like not too far from like, you know, the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all that stuff. I think it's West Hollywood, or no, East Hollywood. It's in East Hollywood. So it's pretty
I'm probably going to
amazing.
be going back in August, so I'm going to look for that now.
Yeah, it's right behind Paramount Studios.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Easy. Okay.
Amazing.
Super fun. Nice.
Is that just like, are those like just camera stills, or do you actually have like a professional camera? Because they look pretty, I think they look professional, like a lot of the stuff you do. Do you do that as a side gig too, or is that just for fun?
Well, I used to use my Nikon all the time, but now I use my Samsung 9 Galaxy. It has like Samsung, it's a 9 Plus, so it has 3 little cameras on it, so it takes really amazing shots. So just use that most of the time.
That's cool.
I have a Samsung, like a S21, and I can't fucking use that camera. So I don't know what you're doing, but we might have to have like a separate video chat where you teach me how to use this thing, because I have a million cameras on. I don't know how to fucking use any of them.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. It's a waste. You should totally utilize that.
Yeah, I have like my thumb in front of one of them or something. Or
This is
so
why
I don't know.
This is why we call him Digital Danny.
Yeah, that's just
He's
amazing.
very savvy with this shit, like as you can
As you can tell.
Also, Mort Stone says, no question, but I just wanted to say she is a severely underrated author who deserves more readers.
Oh, that was very nice of him.
Are you familiar with Mort? You ever see his reviews?
Yep, he's contacted me a couple of times. I remember he contacted me one time, like the first time he was going to read one of my stories, because he was going to give it. It's a story that I really hate, and I just like wrote it in like 10 minutes. And so he was like, well, I think I'm going to give this like 3 stars because you sound like a raging feminist. And I was like, that's fine. I don't care, Mort. Go ahead. But then he read more of my stuff that he like, you know, gave 4 or 5 stars to. So that was cool. So yeah, he's pretty cool. I like him. I like his honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is brutally honest with things, because he's sent me a few things, and he's like, hey, I didn't like this, or this. And I've used him for editing. Also, he's actually a very talented and very quick editor. But if you see a Mort review, you know it's no bullshit, because he is he doesn't play around.
And he writes so many of them too. He must just sit and read like all day. Like he always has like several coming out every week. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's like he has actually helped a few of the people in like the indie horror community gain a decent amount of readers by putting his stuff. Because like if you see his Goodreads reviews, he gets a lot, like, you know, at least like a few hundred likes sometimes, a bunch of comments.
Yeah.
And then he does the Mort report with Candace on Uncomfortably Dark. So if you guys want to check his shit out, it's over there too.
Speaking of editing, do you like hire editors? Do you edit your own stuff? What do you do?
I edit my own stuff, and like it's not that great. It's getting better, but like I just have really bad patience. But it's definitely getting better. And then sometimes I make my fiance do it when he has time, when he's not working. But like I just don't make enough, profit to like justify hiring an editor. So I just try to do it myself. Like I said, I'm getting more patient now, so it's getting a little bit better. But I stopped like smoking pot when I was doing it. So that probably really helped too. So,
I am fucking useless when I'm high. I don't know how you even do it. Like, I'm just
I
like...
try, but like obviously the results aren't too good. So I'm trying to, save it for later and then work on my stuff sober.
Hey, your books are pretty clean, I think. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
a dipshit when it comes to grammar and stuff, so I need to hire somebody.
Mhm.
But I've read your stuff, and I don't think I've really found anything out of place.
That's
So
good.
I mean, you do a pretty good job with it.
Thank you.
And another question, like, so reviews. Have you ever, like, how do you handle like 1-star reviews, or does it affect you? Because I had a couple of 1-star reviews, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
bitch. No, you did not say that about my book. Like,
That's my child.
I know, right?
That's my
to the
dead.
heart,
That's my dead
man.
baby. That's what Roland says. He goes, that's my dead baby.
That's his dead
Yeah,
baby.
exactly. How do you handle reviews?
Well, honestly, like at first I wouldn't read reviews at all because I was just, I don't know, I'm kind of shy when it comes to that stuff. I don't want to know what people think about it. I just want to like do it and enjoy myself. And then I was like, well, I look kind of like a bitch if I don't like people's stuff and respond to it and let them know that like, thank you. So I started doing that for a while. And then I was like, oh, I don't know, it just felt weird. Like, so I've stopped reading reviews now, but like the couple like 1-star or like 2-star reviews I did get, it was usually by people that just like the book wasn't for them, or they didn't get the humor or something like that. Or like with the scrape one, they didn't like the animal mutilation in it. So I guess I just have learned to accept that like, I can't be all things to all people.
Yeah.
So people don't want to like my stuff, that's fine. I get plenty of like emails and messages from people saying how much they love something. So as long as it's not boring, like if people are like, feel angry enough to write a mean review or like love enough to write like a really good review, then that's all I really care about.
Awesome.
I don't really mind.
That's a good way to handle it, I think.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta be prepared to get shit on. You gotta be prepared to roll in the sun, But
Chomp it down.
But I think like no, that like, and the biggest thing is, I think for any authors, that are kind of starting up, when you start getting those shitty reviews, if you just remember that it's like those reviews aren't hurting you, it's how you feel about them that's hurting you,
Exactly.
And it's like if you just turn into a cold-hearted son of a bitch, you'd be all right, I think like I thought seriously, like if you guys got to let go and just be like, it's not going to be for everybody, and like, and some people, you're going to get assholes that are just trying to be mean, and it's like that shouldn't hurt you because you know what kind of person that is,
Yeah.
So the sooner we can come to grips with that, I feel like we're good, but
Yeah, and like you said, anybody that puts their stuff out there, like I can't stand when authors get a bad review and then they put that person on blast. Like, we write horror. It's not for everybody. We write, even between the four of us, our stuff is very different, and it's all horror. But people, it's not for everybody. Somebody might read something of mine and be like, "That's shit," and they might read something of yours and be like, "I love this." So it's such different perspectives.
Exactly.
It's you can't fault them if they don't like it, and like I said, everybody has their different tastes. Stephen King has 1-star reviews, so it is what it is. Just roll, like you said, not fighting with them is the key. Like you're not gonna change anything by fighting with somebody on Goodreads.
Exactly.
So
well, also too, those reviews can be valuable. Like for example, I knew something was up because I was getting fucking trolled on different social media accounts, like by a few people at once, and I was like, like whose review went viral or something, you know what I mean? And then I didn't know what it was until somebody tagged me in it, but it was like a TikTok review, and the girl's like, just like, this is the worst book ever, and like, listing all these things, just and how horrible of a person I am. But then I look at it and it's like,
That's accurate.
damn. Yeah, that's pretty okay. I can't argue with it there. But I look at the fucking views and it's like 16,000, and then I look at the fucking sales and I'm like, okay, you know, because even that hate creates curiosity still. You know, the only thing where it could be detrimental is if they try and cancel you, obviously.
Yeah.
Which we have to deal with that, unfortunately. Have you dealt with anything like that, or?
Not personally. I've had people kind of like email me and say like they wonder like what my views on like abortion and stuff, you know, is, or like they like more asked if I was he thought I was a raging feminist and things, but I haven't been like canceled from anything that I've done or like, you know, been ranted against or anything, so that's good. But I've seen like other authors kind of like, you know, take like bullshit, and I think that's kind of wrong. I don't know. It's like if you don't like something, just don't read it. Just move on. I don't understand like the whole cancel culture thing. I think it's completely useless. So.
Yeah, and I know we've said this a couple times. Like with Dan, I mean, Dan had, you could check out Dan's "Don't Feed the Trolls" shirt at his store, and it really does help not engaging though. Like I found success in not engaging. Just like if somebody has a critique and they're asking me something directly, and it's a reasonable critique, I'll address it. But then if it, like I've done that and then it's just gone to a place of you're a piece of shit, like immediately after, you know, and you
sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was born that way. But no, as long as you don't engage, it fucking works. That is a proven, unless it, and I don't think anybody on our level, I don't imagine it would fucking blow up Twitter completely. You know what I mean? It's not going to get to that level. It's going to be a smaller group of people, and as long as you just don't engage, I think that's the best solution. But
and in all honesty, we have enough of people know us. You know, we have a small but very loyal fan base. And like I had somebody try to pretty much kind of troll me on one of the websites or one of the pages, and I didn't really want to get involved in it, and the readers came to my rescue, I guess you'd say, and they were defending me, and they're like, no, that's bullshit, or you know, it's not like that, and this, that, and the other thing. And I had to like stop them because they were turning into like a fucking like an angry mob. I'm like time out. I'm like, this woman, she's entitled to her opinion. I'm like, it's okay. I'm not upset. I feel bad that she read this book and didn't enjoy it. You know, we're entertainers. I write to entertain people, and I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it, but like leave her be. It's okay. But when people realize your nature and how you are as a person, they're quick to defend you, and especially when you have those trolls coming after you. And I can definitely see people. You write some controversial stuff, but it's funny you mentioned the animal thing, because that's one of the biggest negatives that people will say is like, oh, you can. I wrote a book about the Holocaust, and nobody gave a shit about that, and then I alluded to a dog being killed, and people are like, you're a fucking monster.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's throwing babies in the back of the truck. And there's a dog that goes into a dark basement, and you're telling me that I'm a piece of shit for that? I'm like, all right, well, you win.
Sometimes you can't help but to engage. Well, I won't say help but to engage, because there was a post going around about abortion, and like every comment in it was good. And then some lady, she came on, she was like, oh, this is a forced birth or a woman-hating book. And I purposely ignored it. I did not engage. And then there were comments beyond that, and I thanked people, and you know, and then she was like, well, he must be this way because he didn't comment on my post. And then I had to, and I was like, well, I didn't comment because obviously you feel very strongly about it. I said, that's your opinion. You haven't even read the book, so forth and so on. And actually, after that, she deleted her comment, which I thought that was pretty cool, because obviously she felt bad about it. So sometimes it's a little hard not to engage.
Yeah.
No, I think that there's a time for it, but there's you know, more often than not, I find success in just separating, because sometimes if you allow yourself, and it's good that it didn't happen in that situation. Like it sounds like that worked out great, but
it did.
I think a lot of times people, by putting themselves in that situation, can somehow justify the lies a little bit more by just associating with it. Whereas if you don't associate with it, you know, and let your character stand, I think, you know, it's safer. But I'm glad. I think there's multiple approaches, obviously. But,
Yeah, it is. And I wasn't aggressive with my approach at all. I just I was really nice to her, and I explained that, I actually respect her opinion, and there's nothing I can actually say to change your mind, considering that you've never even read the book. So it worked out perfectly. So
I don't know why I just pictured Scrape and Unbortion in a baby carriage together now.
It'd be majestic. They could definitely. They're definitely two fucking peas in a pod there. Those two.
Oh wow, I'm gonna read this.
Oh, you'll like it, Roland. You'll be
I'm
laughing.
sure.
It just starts off and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
It is. It's a good one. Definitely a big fan. Elizabeth, real quick, I just wanted to ask you. I know you've worked with BJ, and this is just I had it written down. Do you have any plans to work with anybody else in the future, or is this kind of a one-off, or it's just you're gonna play it as it rolls?
I'll probably just like play it by ear, but at the moment, like he's the only person I found that like I don't know that I probably would work with. He seems like we have like the same kind of mentality and things, so it's really easy to connect like that. So I find like I don't know if you don't have some kind of connection with someone, it might be kind of hard. Like it seems like it would make the writing kind of like weird and like jolty. So like if you have like similar styles and things like that, kind of helps it all flow into like one story. So probably just him for now. But I'm open to it in the future.
Yeah, it's smart because I don't think you want to try to force anything. And like you said, I haven't read Holocaust Hearts, but I've read things from both of you guys, and you guys do have very similar styles. So I could definitely see how you guys would mesh well together. And there's not many people that have a similar style like yours because you are very unique. So I think that was a good choice to go with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel described. He's like that Elizabeth Bedlam. She has a very peculiar writing style.
In my astute observation from my literary background and genius, I was able to dissect your your writing style, and yeah, there's like onomatopoeias or I don't know, something fucking smart. Insert something smart.
Do you write from the first person at all?
Not usually. I do like third person, but there's one I did a first person. It's Rabbit Skin Glue. That one's a first person. Okay. But it's like unreliable narrator, so it's kind of like I've had people tell me that it's weird, it's confusing, they don't know what's going on, and that it's like really crazy. So
the only reason I say it is because I sort of had that same fear that you had with collaborating with Matt a little bit because he's from the UK and like while we kind of write in the same vein, our styles are different, and he's just a perverted individual to be around.
Very perverted.
But he had a great idea of, doing alternating perspectives. And his character was from the UK, and my character was like this American woman. And it was like, as far as that, yeah, I know I write women so well, as TikTok will tell you, but
poor Vera.
But the alternating perspective like that, we really it was really comfortable and easy because, and then we just sort of reviewed each other's dialogue like when the characters are in scene together. So I only bring that up because that could be an option if you do want to work with other people that you might not be totally clicking with, but or for obviously anybody else listening that gives a fuck. But
thank you to everybody else that's listening.
Thank you, everyone. Oh yeah, okay. There is one other thing. This is a good question. We've asked a few guests. Is that is there anything that you wish that somebody would have told you when you first started writing, like that could have like advanced your progress more rapidly or just helped you out?
I probably should have chosen like a man's name, honestly, because like even though there's technically more female writers, men tend to get reviewed more, they tend to get read more, and they're taken usually like more seriously. So honestly, I probably should have just pretended to be a man when I started publishing stuff. It seems like it's a lot easier. Women seem to get picked apart a lot more. They get their looks commented on, and they get called raging feminists if they're like, write a book about, angry issues. So whereas like a guy might be, I don't know, they can get away with more, it feels like. So I probably should have I wish someone would have told me that I should have been a man. It would have saved me a lot of grief.
Let me forward you some of my emails, though.
Okay.
Like, no, I get what you're saying, though. So I think that's probably. I think there's a certain bias in some people. You know what I mean? When they look at names on a shelf, and it's a reason why some women have abbreviated their names too. I think I've read that was sort of like a common thing too, because it could kind of hide that a little bit more.
But the crazy thing about that is the majority of our readers, like for me especially, like a lot of my readers are females. So I feel like the guys maybe that if it is majority of men that are leaving bad reviews or whatever, they're just assholes. Like that's probably just the few and far between. Because I've read some sick shit. Like we had Rain Havoc on here.
Oh God.
She writes some she's just as vulgar as Matt Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think one of the most disgusting, fucked up books I've ever read was Suffer the Flesh by Monica O'Rourke.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's like 180 pages of like violent rape.
Mm-hmm.
And so like women, they're definitely right there. So
yeah,
they definitely have a place in fiction, but it is a shame that people will, say stuff negative to you just because of certain things. And we've seen it with other women in different mediums, like Sonia from TikTok. She's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
She's a great reviewer. She's probably done some of your stuff. I don't know if you're not on TikTok, right?
No.
No.
Shocking.
Should not even. Yeah, I know. Not even to make videos, just to have people be able to tag you. But we met her at Scares That Care, and she will get like people just commenting on her looks or sending her negative things on her looks, or positive things. Some unrequested
some nasty
pictures.
emails for sure.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys or whoever the hell it is. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's mostly about guys that are into necrophilia. Like, that if I write about necrophilia, they seem to think that I'm also into necrophilia and that I would like to talk about necrophilia, which I don't.
You should forward them to the FBI. Like,
Right.
like that's not like a fetish. That's like you're fucking a corpse. Like that's not a ball gag fetish or whatever stuff Roland does in the red room. But
hey man, it's the raw room. Get it right, dude. Come on.
That is definitely it.
Y'all told me I had to behave, so then behave. Elizabeth, is there any one piece of advice you would give to a somebody who is up and coming, trying to get a book out and published? What's something you would a piece of advice you would give them?
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really like big into like advertising and stuff like that. I guess it's just, I don't know, just be really honest. Like I notice people really respond to like, if you respond to their messages and you're just like a genuine person. I don't know, I'm really turned off by authors that like, they like everything's awesome. They just, you can tell that, I don't know, it just doesn't feel very genuine. And I think people respond to, I don't know, if you're like a real genuine person, then they tend to, listen to your stuff more and listen to what you have to say and kind of like give you more like the time of day. And then if they feel you're just like another little icon in the screen trying to sell them something.
Yeah,
so,
I like that. Cool.
Yeah. And before we get to the wrap up in just a minute here, I usually like to ask people from, like when you're at the end of your life and you're looking back on everything, as far as writing goes, what is it going to take for you to feel like satisfied by your body of work, or is there any accomplishments or goals that you're seeking, or maybe not, but just
I don't know. I guess as long as I like what I'm doing, then that's all that matters. And if other people like it too, that's super cool. But honestly, I'm kind of selfish when it comes to writing, and I just do it for myself. So, and if other people like it, it's a bonus. So as long as I keep doing what I like, then that's pretty much my only goal.
Yeah, that's cool. Consistency. And it's like, I feel like a lot of the people right now that are talking is like, we all kind of just exploded like a bunch of work within a few year period. You know what I mean? And that just tells you, like, it's cool to know that you're doing what you love, like, and you're like, it feels like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and it's like it's a good feeling. So yeah, so just that's awesome. Hopefully
Not only that, but the fact that you use one social media platform, you don't promote yourself, you don't advertise, and the fact that you have a readership is a testament to not only your character but the quality of your work, and that people who do find it, not only do they like it, but they share it. So obviously you're doing something right, and I know you, like you said, you write for yourself, and if other people can enjoy it, and the people have spoken. They want more Roland, and they want more Bedlam. So they.
I thought you were going to
mostly more Bedlam.
I thought you were going to say that it's a testament to the fact that you're on the Written and Read podcast right now. You know, like
that's true too.
Because I mean, that is. I mean, we'll send you the certificate in the mail, but you know.
Yeah, it's on like the back of a McDonald's wrapper, and it's rancid.
All right, cool. So that was awesome. Thanks again. We got to just wrap up with what we normally do. If we could just ask you to maybe recognize one of your readers, a top reader that has really been awesome.
That's hard because honestly, I'm just so humbled and grateful that anyone takes the time to read my stuff, and then the people that they write me some of the most amazing emails and messages that it's just so touching to like let me know, how a book affected them, and I think that's just completely amazing. It'd be really hard to single out one.
You could say a couple too if you want, but I mean, or you could give a blanket statement. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Well, there's this one, I guess they're probably the most touching one. I like sometimes get emails from people in institutions, and there's this one guy in a locked institution, and he was telling me how he only got like the computer for 30 minutes a day, and he would take that time to like read my ebooks and stuff, and he just like sent me an email just to say how much he liked my stuff and how he appreciated it. And even though he didn't have access to like the computer for more than 30 minutes a day, he was writing his own books with like a pencil and paper and things. And so the fact that he took 30 minutes out of the day to read my stuff on his computer time was pretty awesome. So he was
amazing.
Yeah, so he was really awesome. I'm kind of sad he disappeared. I think he got put into a locked ward. He kept trying to escape, he said. So
that guy's awesome.
Anymore.
Yeah. You don't have your address on there, right?
I was going to say, we're safe.
What's behind you in the shadows?
That's actually really special. I had chills when you were telling that story. So to be able to touch somebody like that, and for them to reach out in that kind of situation to you, that's got to be special.
Yeah, and he told me all about himself and like what he was doing in the hospital and things like that. So to like share that kind of like intimacy with a stranger just felt like really cool. So I like stuff like that. So he was definitely on my like top list of like amazing emails. So
yeah, that's what this stuff is all about. You know what I mean? Like, obviously some of us are trying to do it for a living if we can, but it doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. It's really like those moments that you get where like you really actually fucking change someone's life somehow. Yeah. Like I didn't know it was a thing until you. I don't know if you did, like, but I didn't know that was even a thing until you get a couple of emails like that.
Exactly. I didn't know it was a thing. I thought it was just all crude necrophilia emails. So it was nice to get some nice touching ones too.
Now we know where Carver is. Carver's drafting necrophilia emails.
All right, and lastly, before we have you promote some stuff, could you just tell us, is there anybody that you think other people should be reading more? Just we try to spotlight an author on the show, but now that we're doing interviews, we have you guys do a spotlight.
Well, like I said, the one chick from Canada, Rebecca May Halliday, she's like a small indie author, and she's completely amazing. I think more people should read at least her novel. She's really cool. And I don't know, I really like BJ Swan's work. Like, I'm kind of biased because I work with him, but I don't know, like, I want to like fantasy, but I have a hard time finding fantasy that I like. So,
really?
Yeah, so I really like his stuff because it's really like unique and out there. and he doesn't spend the whole time like world building and like do like tons of info dumps that makes it boring to read. So I really think more people should like check out his stuff too. So probably those two authors.
Yeah.
Are my favorite.
Crimson Crown, I read that, and Lovers in Flame. They were both excellent, and they're both very unique stories. I think Crimson it's the Crimson Crown, right? I think that's what it's called. That's a little bit longer. I think that's novelette length, and that one's really good, and it's super violent. And Lovers in Flame is excellent. I really enjoyed that one. It was just a really cool, just a cool concept and really well executed story. So I definitely second BJ Swan. If you like any kind of fantasy stuff, even if you don't, you just like a good story, then definitely check his stuff out as well.
Yeah, he has a great brain for sure.
Yeah, nice guy too. I've always had the interactions I had with him. He's always super cool. So don't be afraid to tell him you enjoyed his book. You know. Yeah,
send him some emails. He loves emails.
Yeah, send him some necrophilia emails.
Necrophilia emails.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. This has been friggin' awesome. I think this has been a really cool episode. So much better than the Matt Shaw one, in my opinion. But,
there's no vulgarity on this one. We were like professional. Very little vulgarity, but like the Matt Shaw one, he was just completely off the rails. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff about him, so
it's all true.
Everything and worse.
Yeah.
Don't even. Matt is actually the sweetest guy ever. So like, he writes the craziest shit, but he's like the sweetest person.
No, he is. He's super
really
funny. He's definitely the biggest piece of shit I ever met. Absolutely.
Give one of those to Matt Shaw.
But seriously, we know how much you love to promote yourself. So we were thinking, what do you think? People should read. And do you sell? I know Dan has bought signed copies from you. Are you still selling signed copies? Is that changing with any stuff coming up, or?
Well, right now, most of my readers are in the U.S., so I can send them signed copies really easily. But next month, I'm going to be moving overseas, so I could still send signed copies, but I'd probably have to charge more for the shipping because from Australia to the U.S., it's probably about $18 to $28 to send a book. So I'd probably have to start charging for them more, because right now I just take donations if someone wants a signed book, because I can afford to, but it'll probably change in the future. So if you want your signed books, get them now, I guess, while I'm still here.
Damn, donations, pay that full price, people.
Yeah,
support Elizabeth Bedlam.
Pay them
really generous ones. I've had a couple people pay $50 for just a $20 book, so I let them just give me whatever they feels fair, so whatever they can afford. Yeah.
That's very kind of you.
Very, very nice.
That's much more kind than us. We're
fucking
charging.
Savages with it. Just fucking...
Yeah, I'm getting out a calculator and abacus. I'm calculating it out.
But listen, I'm getting ready to go fucking heat up my Hungry Man after this. All right, it's not like I'm rolling in the dough over here, So, but seriously, this has been awesome. We really appreciate it, and best of luck to you with the move and everything too. And maybe down the road in a year or something, we'll have you back. Maybe when you got more workout. And
sure.
I guess we'll do our own sign off now. Again, my name is Aaron Beauregard. You may know me from such books as The Slob, or my new book, Modern Hysteria. My website, abhorror.com. You can get signed shit, all that overpriced shit Elizabeth was just talking about, and
shitting on us.
It's fucking shitting on us, but and merchandise, and then there's t-shirts and stuff too that I got now. It's just the tender young girl t-shirt. That's
Love it.
gratuitous advertising. Daniel,
you have to. Dan J. Volpe. My new book out now, Visceral 2. It's 4 short stories by myself and 4 short stories by Patrick C. Harrison III. That was put out by Death's Head Press, and Aaron actually did a very generous intro to that book. It's out now, and it's shit. But we paid him a lot of money to say that it was good. So if you guys just buy it, we need money. It's out now from Death's Head Press in ebook and paperback, and I will have signed copies of that on my website, DanielJVolpeHorror.com, where I don't have any cool merchandise. I'm just wearing a shitty white t-shirt because this is how I fucking roll. Yeah, so check that out and send me necrophilia emails as well to danieljvolpe@gmail.com. And if you're weird like that, I will forward them to Roland Bursey Jr.
I knew that.
we love
waiting. Roland
Carvers,
Bursey Jr., author of Abortion, Quebec is a Witch, Pre-Thanksgiving Stress Disorder, and then I have a couple of short stories in collections, one with Matt Shaw, Battered and Broken Bodies, and one with Candace Nola in Baker's Dozen. You can find me on Facebook. Send me a message. I love talking to everybody, so please. I have a website, rolandburseyjr.com. So, yeah.
And what about our boy Carver?
Carver.
Go ahead, Daniel. Take
Yeah,
it.
you do a better job. All right, I'll do it. All right, everybody. I'm Carver Pike, author of The Maddening and Shadow Puppets. You can find me everywhere as Carver Pike. Carver's new book, Faces of Beth, is out now. That has an introduction by Brian Keene. You guys are going to want to check that out. And he is a Splatterpunk Award nominated author as well. So check out Carver Pike on all social media platforms.
Awesome. And Elizabeth, take us out.
Me too.
Yes.
I'm Elizabeth Bedlam, and I've got Temperance Holocaust out now from me and BJ Swan. If you like slutty black metal nuns, then you'll love it. So.
We do.
And holler at her on Instagram, and then sign copies on your website, right?
They can just email me, or I have a lot of people actually order them from me on Instagram. So you can just shoot me an email and address, and I'll send it to you.
What's your Instagram name?
Just Elizabeth Bedlam.
Okay.
Elizabeth.Bedlam. Yep.
Nice.
Wow, even Dan can remember that. All right.
Almost. The dot is going to fuck me up, but
He's probably writing it down as we speak.
I have my notes. My notes right here. It's blank.
All right, this has been a great episode. Thanks, everyone. If you can, subscribe on YouTube or on the iTunes or Spotify, if you can. We appreciate y'all. And again, until next time, keep it 100% horror.